everybody, and welcome to the second edition of the Roy's Boys podcast. Fresh off the game over Stanford, a 90-72 win for the North Carolina Tar Heels. I'm welcoming my co-host on Anthony Pagnotta. Man, how's it going?
It's hot in this room, man, because we just watched the Tar Heels with a nice performance against Stanford. So, as usual, it's roasting.
Right. So we're going to dive right into tonight's game. I'll give you some of my early thoughts. The first half, I thought we came out defensively with a lot more intensity than we did against Elon. We were active with our hands. Rotations were good. We were good on the glass. And offensively, I think we had Stanford scrambling, got some easy buckets, hit some threes. Before the second half, I don't know if we just settled in and got a little relaxed. Or you got to give Stanford some credit. They fought. They were going to lay down tonight's game. Really, the game was never in doubt, but, we could have played much better in the second half. A little sloppy with turnovers, rush shots, missed rotations on defense. So let me get some of your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. You touched on how well the defense played. I thought that was a great observation. They really did a great job of forcing them to have to take a lot of outside shots there early in the game, which, was a bit of a strength for Stanford coming in. Cormac Ryan hit a couple of big threes early on, but really they did a great job. They were trying to force these longer looks, and, that's the thing that you've got to do, especially early in the game against some of these teams, is force these low percentage shots that, make them get themselves on a hot streak. Don't allow them to walk inside and just really beat you up on the glass. And then I thought offensively we were aggressive. A little bit early on, Kobe White was maybe a little out of control, trying to go a little bit too fast. But I thought, the best thing I think that they've done in each game so far is when, Roy's seen that happening, he's made the adjustment, brought Seventh Woods in for a minute, brought Kobe over and just said, all right, slow it down. I like the aggressiveness, but, just let's take a little bit off. You can't be going 100% at all times. A little whoa. So, I thought overall, that first half was fantastic. I thought Luke May with, 14 points. I told you, as we were sitting there at halftime, man, this guy has some of the greatest scoring performances with the most quiet nature ever. Like, it just doesn't jump off the page, but he played great in that first half.
Yeah, he really did. I'm going to piggyback on what you said about Kobe and Nazir. I wrote in my preview that this is their first time playing in a meaningful game at home, so there could be that first game nerve. And I think that could have been part of it because Kobe, I thought tonight was the worst he's been with his decision-making. His handle was loose. I thought he was sloppy with his dribble. Nazir came in and right away and chucked up some threes that didn't make me happy, and I'm assuming didn't make Roy Williams happy. But I thought, after getting a chance to play and then sit and let Roy talk to him and see what was going on, they adjusted. Luke May, I think we got so used to him doing that last year that it's just normal. There was plenty of times last year where he was having double-figure games on the points and rebounds, and it didn't seem like it. And I think that's going to be the case this year.
Right.
Some quick stats from tonight's game. Cam Johnson led the team in scoring with 17 points, 3 of 4 from 3. He stays hot from deep. Luke May added 16 with 8 rebounds. Garrison with 12 and 8 rebounds. Kenny, who I also wrote in the preview, looked to see him get going, being back in the home gym, could have helped him. He had 12 points, 4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 3 from distance. Off the bench, Nazir had 8 points, 5 rebounds to lead the bench production. Let's see some other things to talk about from tonight's game.
You gotta look. One of the things that you gotta talk about is Garrison Brooks. You look at tonight's stats. They just posted the minutes as well for these guys. 16 minutes, 12 points, 8 assists for Garrison Brooks. Look, at this point, is it crazy to say that so far this season he might be the most effective all-around player so far? He's just, with the minutes that he's had, he's really just taken advantage of them. I think, he's gotten a lot of these hustle plays on the inside, these hard-nosed scoring opportunities. I mean, he works for every opportunity that he gets. And really on the glass, I mean, Sterling Manley is supposed to get rebounds because of his size. Garrison Brooks is really not that big. He's just there grabbing the rebounds because he's working hard. So I think he's had a fantastic start to the year, the first 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very impressed with his all-around just energy level. We're not asking him to come out and give us points, but when he can give you 12, that's going to help you. He's always, for the most part, in the right spot defensively, rotates very well. And like you said, he's probably not the natural rebounder that Sterling Manley is. It's just more of the effort and the want-to factor that he has. It's what made him so effective early on this year down low with Luke May. Overall, we shot 49% from the field, held Stanford to 40%. Mm-hmm. From 3, we shot 46% and we only took 13 shots, so that's a very effective number. Kobe White, who didn't even take a 3 tonight, so that was interesting. Stanford was 21% from 3.
I like that.
On the glass, we out-rebounded them by 10, but we gave up 11 offensive rebounds. Got to clean that area up, but, you know, a lot of that was second half where they just wanted a little bit more, and the game was already in hand.
Right.
I think my biggest, when you look at the team stats, we were only 67% from the foul line tonight. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great. I like to see them in that more 73 to 77% because that's just, you know, you mentioned during, you know, when it gets conference play and you get a dead ball, anytime you can score without the clock moving, it's really important.
Yeah, I mean, you know, one of the things that stuck out to me for sure was about, you know, Luke May really had a tough night at the line, and that's something that, you know, you really want to see an improvement on from him because, especially in conference play, you're going to see a lot of him at the foul line because that's where you're going to create most of your fouls, and that's where you're going to want to create most of your fouls against guys like Zion Williamson. For Virginia, who's going to be their inside guys? Is DeAndre Hunter a forward?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you got them. You're going to have. I don't think Tyus Battle will be matched up on him. It's going to be what's the something with an O from Syracuse. It's slipping my mind right now, but some of their best players are who he's going to be matched up on, and you're going to want to try to get those guys into foul trouble. So you want to see when, okay, yeah, it's one thing to get to the line, but when you get there, you've got to take the opportunities that are there for you. I mean, they are free throws, so, you know, capitalize. And, you know, I mean, it's still early in the year. It's one game. You know, I thought for the most part in the first 2 games, Luke looked pretty good shooting free throws, but you know, yeah, I wouldn't be overly concerned, but I'm going to tell you, you can't tell Roy Williams that, man.
Yeah, I mean, he walked in his press conference today, and the first thing he said was the best thing that happened tonight was the team didn't have to practice tomorrow. So you could clearly tell the Hall of Fame are not happy with the team's performance. Probably like us in the second half because we just weren't as sharp as into the game. Carolina also totaled 19 assists and only 12 turnovers, so that's a good number. It's always good to have more assists than turnovers. Is there anything else you want to add stat-wise from tonight's game?
It was good to see Cameron Johnson back in the Smith Center with his nice shot. Gets me feeling some type of way about basketball all the time. I mean, I was getting all hot and heavy over here. Not even going to lie, that shot is just unbelievable. Good to see it back on display in the Smith Center. How about KJ? We'll just throwing this in there. KJ Smith, the one chance that he gets to go down the floor, just 100%. Dude, he was flying. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was beautiful to see him put his speed on display. Of course, not as fast as his daddy, Kenny Smith, was when he played for Carolina in the 80s. But, is there anything else you want to add from the Stanford game?
I don't think so. I will say this. Nice to see Roy get his second win over Gerard Haas. And yes, that's how we're going to pronounce his name until we are corrected. I'm pretty sure that's how Roy pronounced his name for all the years. So we'll go with that. But, a guy that knows how Roy wants to play. And really, I mean, of course, he got beat at UAB by him, but we played Gerard back-to-back years, and both times Roy has put the foot down. So I like it. We wish, of course, Gerard the best success. I mean, we're always rooting for him, for CB. We love those guys and what they did as assistants at Carolina, but at the same time, it's great to see him get those types of wins. You want to see the mentor still able to top the young guys.
Oh, I'm right there with you. With little side note, this was the first win on the newly named Roy Williams Court. Carolina improves to 30-2 overall in Smith Center home openers, and I believe it's 102 and I think it's 7 all time in home openers in program history. Really elite numbers when you look at the program.
You want to talk about something that gets my juices flowing. Dude, every time I see that name on that court, woo! Tell you what, cue the music.
What am I going to do with you? Okay, we're going to transition to a little interesting topic we had a guy from Twitter want to bring up. And I tweeted out that you and I were going to be potting after the game, recapping the night. And
That's right.
If the fans had anything they wanted us to talk about in particular, just send it our way. And a good friend of yours helped you on your Heel Tough blog podcast.
And he will be back to close the season with us as well. We'll have him on as well. But yeah, good question, though. Good question.
Very interesting.
Very good one.
Wanted us to compare the freshmen, which of, Nazir Little, Kobe White, Leaky Black, to players, either former players that played at Carolina and are now in the NBA. I'm going to let you go first, and we'll start with Kobe White.
Okay, with Kobe? Okay, well, the easy comparison, are we going to go NBA first?
Let's do college and then pro.
Okay, college. Okay, well, of course, we're going to have the same one. It's Ty Lawson, just because, I mean, you look at his ability to bring the ball up the floor with some speed. He's a guy that will look for a shot, a pretty good amount. Not a ton, not too much to where you're like, okay, this is a little concerning. But a guy that, he can still spread the ball around, but mainly it's just the aggressiveness getting up the court. And I also think, so far, I mean, it's only 3 games, but so far, he's put himself in good positions defensively. I don't think he's really been out of position a whole lot. So yeah, I think Ty Lawson's got to be that guy there. Who's your compare? I mean, I'm assuming you have Ty Lawson. I mean, anything else to add to the Lawson comparison there? I mean, no headband, a little bit longer hair. But.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ty Lawson's the easy choice. They're the fastest I've ever seen get the ball from one end of the floor to the other. I think Kobe, as a freshman, is better at getting his own shot. Ty Lawson kind of developed his shot over his 3 years while he was in Chapel Hill, but that's the easy. I mean, Jay Billis said it tonight on tonight's broadcast, and that's the guy you compare him to. And hopefully over time, Kobe will become as good as a decision maker as Ty was in terms of distributing the ball to the right people and getting them their shots. His NBA comparison, I was really struggling with this thinking about it. I'd probably lean a little bit John Wall, because John Wall's considered the fastest guy in the league with the ball in his hand and and can get his own shot. At the beginning, I was kind of thinking like Derrick Rose because the way he can get to the rim, but I don't want to curse Kobe White like that. So yeah, I would say his NBA comp would probably be John Wall if I had to pick one.
Yeah, dude. I mean, his aggressiveness, believe it or not, I see some Russell Westbrook in him, just a little bit because of how aggressive he is. I don't think, clearly not the rebounder. Clearly not the guy that, I mean, I still think he can spread the ball around maybe like Russ. I think, man, who else? You know what? I'll give you one that I think he could be as he progresses, and maybe once he gets to the NBA level, I think he could be a little bit like Kemba Walker, where he's a guy that can score the basketball, if he has to. I don't know if he's quite as good at creating his own shot away from the basket, but I don't know. I think there's a little bit of a scoring touch like Kemba there.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely dig that Kemba's a top 10 guard in the NBA right now. So,
oh yeah,
I mean, really not bad comparisons by either one of us. we'll move on to Nazir Little and his former college player and his NBA comp. I think if you're going former Tar Heel that's been, and I'm going to assume this is under Roy Williams.
Oh, okay.
You know, because we weren't all really alive to see a lot of
That's
Dean
a good
Smith's
point,
late
yeah.
teams. I guess when you look at his athleticism, you probably lean Marvin Williams because they're kind of in the same role. They come in with guys that can get their own shots. When they want to defend, can be good defenders and good rebounders. What says you?
I mean, if I had to go outside of one, just from kind of what I've heard, a guy under Dean Smith would maybe be Hubert Davis, a guy that can score the basketball, maybe not at a high, doesn't need to score it at a high clip at this point because of the guys that he has around him, but has that ability to be a scorer. I believe, was Hubert not a pretty high draft pick as well in the NBA
I believe
draft?
he was a first-round pick.
Right. So, I mean, I think you can see a little bit of it with that. Now, my NBA one, I think, is going to – this might knock your socks off there, buddy. Might make you go, whoa, okay? I see a little bit of James Harden in him.
Okay.
I see a little guy that can create his shot. I think he's going to be a guy that is going to focus more offensively than defensively. But I feel like if he wants to, he does have some ability to play defense. And I feel like that's how James Harden was. I mean, remember in his early days in Oklahoma City, I felt like he was a guy that could play some defense. That's kind of left him as he's gone to Houston. But I feel like Nazir could be that type of guy that if you need him to, he can take over and win you a basketball game. And that's what James Harden does.
I'm going to go a completely different direction than you. A top player in the league was just recently traded, by the way, from the Minnesota Timberwolves to Philadelphia.
No, he's not that good of a defender, though.
But, okay, I think...
I don't know, man.
If you put him in a system that values defense and puts him in a spot where he has to defend, he has all the physical tools, speed, awareness, he's long, everything that you want to be a good defender, on top of the fact that Jimmy Butler can get his own shot, can create for others. When his mind's right, he's probably a top 10 player in the NBA. So that's what I look at Nazir Little, is a guy that a physical specimen, can overpower defenders. When he gets in the open court, it's going to be a highlight reel, can step out and hit the three, hit a baseline jumper. And I just think if you put him in a system that values his defensive abilities, he can be very productive.
I could also see him being a little bit of a Victor Oladipo type as well. But see, what I'm trying to think of these guys. There's no one that comes to mind right now that has the ability to dunk the basketball like he does, because he elevates. And so that's the thing. I mean, we're thinking guards. Are we maybe supposed to be thinking small forwards as well? Because I don't know. I mean, you know, if you want it, I mean, he has some ball handling skills too.
Right.
So I'm trying to think, like, who would fit that. I mean, clearly, let's say this. He's not on the level of a Giannis. Okay, Giannis can literally play every single position on the floor. He's just a freak. But, man, I'm trying to think of someone at that small forward position that maybe he would be like. I don't think Kevin Knox would be the worst comparison for him. Maybe a little bit of a better defender, but I think we're spending too much time trying to figure out other names. I like my James Harden one. I think that's a solid one. I think that's a good one.
We're going to move on to my favorite freshman of this year's class, Leaky Black. I think Tar Heel fans, since really he committed and we got to see his highlight tape and then what we saw really from bits and pieces and some rights coming out of Chapel Hill. He's a Theo Pinson kind of guy for Roy Williams. More of a natural, point guard than like Theo just kind of learned how to handle the ball as a point guard and run the offense, whereas Leaky, it kind of comes more natural.
Right.
So are we in agreement that his UNC comparison would be Theo Pinson?
I think it's Theo or another guy that came to mind earlier when I was using the restroom. Not even lying. Don't understand how this came to me while I was in there. Marcus Ginyard just a little bit. Because I feel like Ginyard was that type of guy that could play point guard if you needed to.
And all three guys wore number 1.
Could go all the way up to small forward as well. So I feel like, a little bit. But Theo, I think, an athletic guy that can rebound on the glass. A guy that can, if needed, can bring the ball up. I mean, last year, we were all over Theo during the tournament being the guy bringing the ball up at times. I mean, which was fantastic. And that's what you want to see. Now, my NBA one, I'm going to admit, I'm pretty damn proud of myself for this one. All right? And, by the way, whenever I order my food now, I order it with a side of leeks. Let's do it.
Oh, God.
That's right. But my NBA one, dude, this one just, I don't know. It took me a minute, but I figured it out. He is Sean Livingston. That's what he is. He's a combo guard that I feel like, could be that guy in the NBA that could come off the bench, has some jump shooting ability, has the ability to take the ball to the basket, can play some good defense. Who was that wasn't your comparison, was it?
There are reasons you're my best friend.
What?
Once I got the question, I was like,
yes!
He's Sean Livingston.
Yes!
Can come in.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about.
He'll be most likely a second unit guy.
Wow.
That's going to run the offense. He's already shown that he has a mid-range game in college. And I just think that's what he's going to do. He can go to, in a situation where he runs the offense. When they need him to score, he can score. Yeah. Like, right now, does this team need him to score? No, but if they needed his scoring, I firmly believe he could score the basketball. So, like, when we were talking pre-pod, I was like, that's why I was like, we've probably got the same guy.
I can't believe that.
We have this chemistry going on. Like, it's unmatched in the history of chemistry.
It's straight out of Friends. You and me are just like...
Yeah.
With the hand motion. Yeah. Oh, man.
Wow.
That's crazy. Wow. Okay, so that was interesting. We had some interesting comparisons there. Of course, if you guys are listening, I think we're welcoming, other people's comparisons.
Right. Yeah. Feel free to hit us up. My handle is at Joshua Marlowe 5. Your handle is?
At Future Tar Heel.
As always. So, yeah, y'all feel free to hit us up, and in the next pod we can bring these up and talk about them. So now we're going to transition to Friday's game. We're going to preview a little bit of Tennessee Tech. There's not a whole lot to say about Tennessee Tech. They are not very good. They're 0-2 right now.
They are awful.
They play tomorrow night at Savannah State, who also isn't very good. When I look at this game, not knowing a whole lot about Tennessee Tech because this will be the only time they're probably on TV all year.
Yeah, you're not.
It's going to be all about Carolina, as it always is for you and I. I think hopefully you're going to see a much sharper, more complete performance from the Tar Heels. Shooting, rebounding, defending. All those areas that they struggled in the second half against Stanford. Your early thoughts going into Friday's game against Tennessee Tech?
I think this is going to be another one of those games where Carolina should be able to control this game from the beginning. It has the feel of one of those games that will be like a 20 to 25 point differential most of the way. I think one of the things they've just got to do is make this team shoot the ball. They're not a good shooting team. Most of their damage early in the season has been done inside. You mentioned earlier Micah Henry, who had a good first game for them, had just 2 points in the second game. Well, he is shooting 90% from the field. So clearly a big man that gets high percentage looks. Prevent those, which I think Garrison Brooks can do. And, really, I just want to see, I want to see Kenny Williams continue to make some shots. I mean, tonight, 4-6, not bad. But, I want to see him, get himself in a little bit of a rhythm. This is the time to get yourself in a little bit of a rhythm. I also want to see some of these bench guys have some good games. You want to see a guy like Leaky step up. You want a little bit of Kobe beef with a side of leaks. And then, Playtech, you'd like to see Playtech step up as well. Guys like Brandon Robinson. These are the types of games where those guys can sort of make an impact to where later in the year, you can say, okay, well, you played well in some of these games. We can trust you a little bit to be out there in a couple of those key conference games if we've got some guys wearing down because we're playing 3 games in a week. This is where you show that. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, out of the Tar Heels. Again, go inside if you can. If not, give me some late shot clock looks. Don't rush the shots. If it's there, take it. If not, make that extra pass.
Yeah, I think for me, it's going to be a game where you hope to see maturation from one game to another from Kobe White.
Ooh, big words.
Where he struggled tonight in the open floor with his decision-making and shot selection. You want to see Nazir be a little bit more efficient and more, I think, aggressive going to the basket when he first gets in the game instead of coming in and settling for threes. For Leaky, just keep on doing Leaky-type things, score, rebound, defend. Another good night or an opportunity for Kenny to find his shot. I think when this team needs Kenny's offense, we'll be confident to get him the ball, and he'll be confident to make the shot.
Right.
But when Cam Johnson's as hot as he is right now, and Luke May's just being Luke May, and Kobe's giving you a little bit, and Garrison's giving you a little bit, we don't need the 18 or 20-point game from Kenny Williams. Another good opportunity for the bench to, Sterling Manley, who I thought was very active tonight, was 2 of 7 from the field. I think he's leaving a lot of his shots short, so a good game for him to improve on his shot making.
He also fouled out tonight, so you want to kind of see
I
that.
Noticed that.
Be a little more, just be a little more disciplined. Especially, this team in Stanford really wasn't all that big. And how many minutes did he play? Give me 1 second here. I got it right here. He played a total of 14 minutes and had 5 fouls. So, it's time to iron those types of things out. And these are the games where you want to iron them out, because I feel like it's this game and then it's St. Francis. And then you got to be ready, because that Texas team, look, I don't think they're that great. I don't even know if they're a tournament team. But we always know when we play them, it's never easy against them. Granted, Rick Barnes is gone. Now they got, the guy that we heard for years. This is the guy that could replace Roy. Whoa. Okay. Whoa. I don't think so. But Shaka Smart's a good coach. So these next 2 games are the games where you iron out those flaws and start to, get yourself in enough of a good state of mind. Because, look, then you got Texas. You've got either Notre Dame, Michigan State or UCLA. And then you finish up that stretch at Michigan.
Yeah. With
the ACC Big Ten Challenge. So, yeah, this is the time to get those kinks ironed out.
Yeah, fully agreed. This is will be our 4th game. We play a lot of games in November,
right.
Not a lot in December. So there's going to be a lot of time off in the month of December because of holidays and exams. So another good game to keep on getting better at the little things. So we'll move on to our predictions.
Here we go.
We know no spread, just flat out who we think is going to win. And then the one player, when I write the recap and we do the podcast after the game, who we're going to be talking about after the game against Tennessee Tech.
Okay, prediction, I think, somewhere in that range of a 30 to 40 point win. It's not even, being overly confident in Carolina. This is just, man, Tennessee Tech's not that good of a basketball team. And I think that Carolina's played it well enough so far this season in the first 3 games of the year where we can say, we feel confident in predicting a score like that. The guy that I think has a big game, dude, I mean, at this point, is it bad to just pick Cameron Johnson because he just keeps playing so well? I mean,
it's an obvious choice.
Yeah. But if I had to go, you know what? I think this is a game where Kobe White plays really well. I think Kobe has a good night. I don't know if he leads the team in scoring, but I think he has double-digit points. I think he gets at least 6 assists, and I think he's the guy that we're talking about on the podcast after that game, saying, you know what, this guy's really starting to show some signs of a guy that can take this role on full time come conference season.
Okay. I, of course, am going to take the Tar Heels. You predicted a 30 to 40 point win. I'll predict that we score 100. The fans get the biscuit steal from Bojangles the day after. I think the player that we're going to be talking about after the game, you're going to go Kobe White. I'm going to say I'll go Garrison Brooks. Lighter competition.
All right.
We've seen what he's did, against Mount Olive and Wofford. And I thought against Elon he was very good. Just missed some bunnies that really, I think he'd have been in double figures. Just missed some shots close to the rim. So I think he'll be a dominating force in the paint Friday night.
Yeah. Interesting point. Mount Olive's RPI better than anybody Duke plays in the out-of-conference schedule. How about that? That was a joke, by the way. Not a real stat. Not a real stat. I don't think they have RPI for Division II schools. Wouldn't be shocked nowadays. Hell, they got preseason bracket predictions. I wouldn't be shocked if they've got RPI for Division II schools. But throwing a little bit of a joke in there. By the way, I know Tar Heel fans probably saw this. Of course, they had to show one of their graphics tonight on there. I was like, you're kidding, right? And another mention of the Shore Center as well.
Right, yeah. Not,
Oh, man.
ESPN's
what
just
a
teasing with
disaster.
us early in the season.
I'd swear they're just messing with us. We should also just say this. I always am and always will be enthused by the fact that Eric Montross's nickname is Big Grits. Fantastic. Fantastic nickname. And people say that Jay Billis and Eric Montross look alike. No, not really.
Not even close.
No.
Okay, or are we gonna close this thing out tonight?
Yeah, I think we're gonna shut this thing down there, bud.
Okay. All right, guys. I'm gonna have this uploaded very soon. Please check it out. Hit us up on Twitter if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I'm Josh Marlowe. He's
Anthony Pagnotta. Subscribe to the podcast on Spreaker. Haven't submitted it to iTunes. We'll get that submitted soon. All Spotify as well. We got to wait until we get a certain amount of shows to do iHeartRadio, but we'll get it all through there. Got to thank Zach Hubbard for sending in the great question as well again. Anything else, man? I think we're good.
I think that's it.
All right, man.
Okay, all right. Thanks, guys. Go Tar Heels.